So lucky me, I had an early copy of Lightwork from Devin Townsend, but it didn't include Nightwork, the companion album to this project. It is currently being available on like the deluxe version, and if you bought it in physical format, I believe the deluxe version on it, and it's also on streaming services. So now that I've had a listen to it, I have quite a bit to say about it. So I figured I'd do a full-length album review of this companion album, this EP, this secondary album. Not 100% sure what it is, but let's dive in and talk about it. Nightwork from Devin Townsend. So as I mentioned in the intro, Lightwork came with a bonus disc, and this is where we get Nightwork from. And Nightwork is kind of supposed to be this companion album. It's being marketed as a kind of like the shadow version of this Lightwork album. You know, you have kind of like day and night. And yeah, because of that, it has the same overall flavor as Lightwork did, but it's definitely a lot darker, and it's a lot more, I like to think about it as having a little bit more teeth to it. And Devin isn't necessarily an individual that shies away from this kind of stuff. I mean, I remember when he put out Epic Louder, which was kind of the companion piece to Epic Loud. And if you got the deluxe version of Transcendence, you would have all these extra bonus discs or all these bonus tracks on it. And I feel like that is kind of what we have on here, but it's a little bit more realized. And in some cases, it's almost a completely different album overall. And one of the main things that I noticed right from the beginning is where in Lightwork, Devin contracted a producer that really helped him out, flesh out a lot of the tracks. That's not found on this. And where one of my biggest criticisms that I had for Lightwork was, I don't want to say like, I guess influence would probably be the best word for how the producer came to Devin and helped him kind of whittle away on a lot of the tracks there. That influence isn't felt on here. You can feel right from track one, there is just Devin on here. It's just Heavy Devi. Right from the beginning track of Star Chasm Part 2, right from the beginning notes, it's a lot heavier. It's a lot punchier. You know, you're feeling that Devin isn't necessarily being constrained on this track. He is allowed to do whatever he wants to do on this, and you feel that. And I love how juicy, how metal, how big this sounds. This is the style of music that I love from Devin. It's got a much bigger sound to it. It has a lot more chaotic aspects of it, where I feel like almost anybody else would have been like, well, we can probably rein that in a little bit more. Devin goes, no, we're gonna test the boundaries and just see where this goes. The other thing that I really love about this is right from this beginning track, again, Starchasm is a really great way to open this up because we can feel and hear the other artists that Devin has brought on. Annika van Gershenbergen, I will one of these days get her last name correct, but Annika comes right on, and you can hear how crystal clear and how present she is within this mix. She is right forefront, right center in that sense, and you hear all the inflections that she has on there. Again, this chaos, this relentless outburst of music is found within the next two tracks of Stumpy Blaster and Fractions. Right from the beginning, we have this blast beats drum that's so center, so like right prominence, right in the forefront. And I love just how unabashedly heavy these two tracks are. It's almost as though the amount of restraint that Devin had found within the first couple of tracks, or from the first album of Lightwork, he has just broken the mold, and all that pent up aggression is now released into this. But even with all this, we still have that really, really fun aspect. I love the fourth track of Yogi. Man, it's just so fun. It's so bouncing. It's reminding me of some of the deeper cuts that we would have from Kai. I love just how fun, how jovial. Like it sounds a lot more like a jig. You know, it sounds like Devin, once again, is just being released and he's not being constrained by anything. And this type of fun is also found within the second last track of Bugis. Man, this is a lot of fun. Like, it's got like this really juicy 40s, 50s swing aspect. Like, I'm thinking of like the swing bar. This is something that I would hear from maybe Synkestria, you know, reaching back into Devin's back catalog in that sense. So once again, we're shown that Devin has this relentless release of just this fun, really quirky atmosphere, this really weird off-the-wall stuff that I just love. And I think the track that really solidifies this is the 5th track of Precious Sardine. This track is the longest track by quite a long shot at over 10 minutes long. And it's all over the place. You know, it reminds me of some of the quirkier aspects from like the Mighty Masturbator from Deconstruction, where it just like out of nowhere goes into this dance house techno aspect, but never really loses the through line as well. Like, he's able to really root it into this crystal clear, like, vision of where he wants this track to go. And he just kind of, like, again, lets it loose into the world and just kind of sees where it goes. And I feel as though he's even reaching into, you know, the empath era with the hope is in the world. It's very optimistic. It's very happy. It's reminding me of like Spirits Will Collide from the Empath record. It's still very big, very jovial in that sense, and allowing it to be this big monumental statement in what he's doing, while also bringing it right down to a personal level. And that's also found within Children of Dog, which is kind of the one, like the mirror version of Children of God. And I actually prefer this over the Children of God. I felt like the Children of God on Lightwork kind of went on a little too much within the ambient sounds at the end. I felt like it needed to be a little bit tighter, which is kind of ironic, seeing as that was my main criticism of the album overall. But Children of the Dog is just kind of allowed to do whatever it wants to do, and it feels much more like a realized song than Children of God is. The last 2 tracks that I haven't talked about, Sober and Carry Me Home, are just so somber. They're so intimate and so heartfelt from Devin that I couldn't help but feel myself be moved. Like, the final track of Carry Me Home is just so beautiful and so immediate in its intimacy. I couldn't help but feel very moved. It was reminding me of like Lady Helen from Kai. Loved how this track finally ended off this project, and yeah, it left me a little confused of like why this was the bonus disc, why this was not its own album itself. Like, I would have really loved to see maybe Devin holding on to this project for a couple of months, release it in the first quarter of 2023, and have it be its own thing. Or if this was going to be something like something that he did with like Deconstruction and Ghost, having the 2 albums be released on the same day, or very similarly Z2 with Dark Matters and Sky Blue, you know, and have this second album be its own thing rather than kind of like a bonus disc off of Lightwork. Yeah, it was very interesting. I will say overall Nightwork is a far superior, to my ears, album than Lightwork. It's one that I've come back to a lot more than I have of Lightwork. I will just put on this bonus disc and listen to this exclusively. And it's for that reason that I will say Nightwork by Devin Townsend is an album I absolutely love with my whole heart. You know, I come back to it. I love it. It's got everything that I wanted from Devi. This was the album I was hoping for. This was the album that I was really hoping for as a successor of Empath and a solid kind of, I don't want to say post-pandemic because I don't think we're quite there yet, but definitely a late pandemic album. Kind of like thinking about everything that has come before and finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, love this album. Thumbs up. Great work. Great work. This alone would make me buy Lightwork, the deluxe album. I would absolutely do it. Absolutely. And that's what I've got for you guys today. What did you guys think about Nightwork from Devin Townsend? How does it compare to Lightwork? What do you guys think about this? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Whatever you thought, please let me know by commenting down below. And that's all I've got for you guys today. That's all I've got. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.